On tomorrow night, which will be, and dating this message, the 16th of December at 6:30 in the afternoon or the evening, the community board here in the Harlem area will be holding a meeting to discover whether or not a rezoning is possible and the building of a twin tower, 17 stories each, on 145th Street and Lenox Avenue, the spot or the place where Al the Buzzard Sharpton's National Action Headquarters is presently being housed. I'm going to ask the engineer to show the graphics of what that building will look like, the Twin Towers, if you'll give us the visibility of what that would look like. And it's the buildings themselves, the Twin Towers, there on 145th Street, 17 stories high, will be called the Civil Rights Building. And of course, will house the Al Sharpton National Action Network Headquarters, is what it will be named as. Of course, should the city and the community board decide to rezone the community, because as you can see, there are no buildings in the community of that stature or that size, so rezoning will have to take place. And of course, a lot of kickbacks will have to be given to many of the community board leaders to pay them off to vote yes. A number of people will have to be paid off as well, contractors and city employees and others, in order to be able to get that rezoning and to get that built. But obviously, the power that they're using to influence everyone is to make it the Civil Rights Building honoring Al Sharpton. Ain't that nothing? 2 buildings, 17 stories high, Twin Towers, named the Civil Rights Building honoring Al Sharpton with his National Action Network. I want to say something to you that several years ago when I was holding the Gettysburg, if you will, racial reconciliation meeting in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, that great killing field, I contacted Lee Greenwood, the great singer of America, Songs About America, to come and sing at that major event. And I asked people from all over America to come. In fact, we tried to get buses to come out of every city to bring people to that great event. Twice. I asked Lee Greenwood to come and sing. He didn't so much even respond to me to give me an answer whether he would. Obviously, he didn't come. I want to say to you that I can help a whole lot of people who are suffering, especially Hamites, but also Japheth people who are suffering at the tyrannical powers that are being given to the pinch-nosed Negroes, such as Al Sharpton or Eric Adams, for that matter, or Barack Hussein Obama, or the Keisha Bottoms down in Atlanta, or Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, and on and on and on the list goes. I can stop this, but I need your help. I was able to take Al Sharpton down, and I say this as a warrior. I say that in the name of David as a warrior. I took down the giant of Al Sharpton. I took him down off of MSNBC several years ago. He had a weekday program, prime time, 5 o'clock, 5 days a week. I was able to get them to take him down from there. A year or so later, they put him back up on Saturday and Sunday at 5 o'clock. I want you to listen to me. Eric Adams, in a few days, will become the mayor of the city of New York. He's qualified, absolutely not, inexperienced, except for being one who is pretty much a playboy here in the city of New York. But the reason why Eric Adams is going to be mayor is because the Jews of New York City and the Jews of Wall Street and the Jews of banking chose him as their boy to lead the city of New York. And they're behind him, and they're going to give him all the counsel and advice, but they paved his way to be the mayor of the city of New York. Now, I'm not a hater of Jews. I'm a Zionist. I'm more Jewish than David Ben Gurion. I'm a Zionist. Jesus is a Jew. I'm a Zionist. So I'm not against Jews, but I'm telling you what they've done. I'm telling you listen. If I had Jews behind me giving me the kind of support that they're giving Eric Adams, or that they're giving Al Sharpton, or that the white liberals, the Democrats, and the Obamas of the world are giving Al Sharpton, that I would be able to stop a lot of what's wrong with race problems in America today. I'd be able to stop Black Lives Matter. If I was given the kind of support that Black Lives Matter get, that Al Sharpton gets, that Eric Adams get, if I was given that kind of support, I could stop Black Lives Matter. But more importantly, I could help a lot of people who are suffering right now because of the tense and intense and unprecedented racial relations that are going on in the matter of hatred and indifference and anger and angst at one another. I can do it. I can do it. I have been vigorously opposed by the LGBTQ community with a number of marches and a number of hate messages that they've sent towards our church about the Democrats. I've been opposed by the Democrats, by the liberals, by the pensioners, Negroes that have gone on a campaign for years to teach people to ostracize, do not touch, do not support in any way James David Manning. For those of you who realize this building should not be going up in the name of Al Sharpton, but that's just a prop, it's just a building. The other spiritual things that he's done to humanity and to America and to black and white people in general, what Al Sharpton has done is it is absolutely beyond the pale in terms of evil. I can stop him. I have the ability to do it. But the problem is that you will not support me. Those that should be supporting me have decided to sit on the sidelines and watch me fight all by myself. You've not given me any support. Or you've stated that, well, I don't like some of the other things that you say. You know, when I was in support of Tribulation Trump, he gladly received me. He knew that my voice would be critical for his first run as president. But I withdrew that support. And I withdrew because I'm a man of integrity. Now, I could not give my support to someone who is as loose with truth, who also deceived me, who lied to me, and who used me. That having been said, you could support me. Al Sharpton or Eric Adams, as mayor of the city of New York, would not be able to deal with the strength or the courage that I possess and the ability that God has given to me as his servant. I could stop both of these men, but I need your help. For too long, y'all have sat out there and you've listened to me, but yet you've offered no help. For too long, you have watched people excoriate me. You watch people lie on me. You watch people try to take me down. You watch me fight this national, racial, political, economic fight by myself. Well, you could help. You could help. You watch me fight for Harlem. These gentrifiers, these white liberals, the LGBTQ that have come up here and have taken this community, they've taken it because Al Sharpton has given it to them. And look at what they are now giving to him. Al Sharpton took $800,000 at the Cotton Club and promised the Jews that he would not lead any march or protest or raise his voice of the gentrification of Harlem. Now look at what they want to give to him in return. Why don't you help me? Why do you believe all the lies that have been published or posted about me? Or why do you disagree with the truth that I tell? Listen, you say, well, Pastor, you're against black folk, and I'm a black man, and you just ain't for the black. I've only told the truth. I've only told you the truth. And I've told you the truth because I love you. I've not been a shyster and a liar like Sharpton, or like Eric Adams, or like Barack Hussein Obama, or like any of the other pinch-nosed Negroes, the mayor of Houston, and all these other political, if you will, Jim Clyburn. They're all about themselves, but they're being fueled and paid for by white liberals that buy them. Now, you can't buy me, By supporting me, you can't dictate what I do the way the Jews are going to. That they bought Eric Adams, and they're going to tell him what to say, when to say it. They're going to tell him when he can go to the bathroom and when he can't. And they're going to run New York City through Eric Adams. No, you can't buy me. But on the other hand, you don't need to. You've watched me long enough. You know the essence of what I do and how I do it. I can stop Al Sharpton. They should not be putting up a building in his name. Come on. Especially for you Japheth folk. You know what a scoundrel he is. You know what a buzzard he is. You know it. And yet you do nothing to help me. Well, he ain't for our first black president, or he ain't for our President Trump. Come on now. You're better than that. You ought to know better than that. What you going to do? Punish me? Is that what you plan to do? Punish me because I speak the truth, and you know I speak the truth. I can only speak the truth about Al Sharpton because I speak the truth about Donald John Tribulation Trump, and that I speak the truth about Barack Hussein Obama. And you loved it when I spoke the truth about Obama. I'm only doing the same thing about Trump. You need to discover that I can do more to help you than Donald Trump can, because Trump is going down. Oh, he is. There's no doubt about that. If you think that Trump is going to survive the lies, the criminality that he has done, the violation of humanity that he has done, and going to survive and become president again, you done lost your mind. If you think the Trump followers are somehow or another going to be able to overcome the powers of the liberals, the Democrats, even with 6 Supreme Court justices, they're not going to be able to do it. You're going down the wrong rabbit hole. You had Trump for 4 years. You need to look for another. And it needs to be me. It needs to be me. You need to look for another. And stop wasting your time and your energy on trying to prop up somebody who has done more damage to you and really doesn't even care about you. You know, I started out by saying I asked Lee Greenwood to come. Why didn't he come? It was a racial reconciliation at Gettysburg, at that great killing field of the Civil War. 65,000 people lost their lives in 1 day and a half there. I brought black folk and white folk together. Why didn't Lee Greenwood come and help me? Why didn't he come? Why? Why didn't he? Listen, Howard Stern gave me a year. First he interviewed me twice, gave me a whole hour interview. And then for a year played my statement. Obama's a Mac Daddy! Obama's a long-legged Mac Daddy! Howard Stern. He helped. Jon Stewart helped me when the courts were trying to take our building on a bogus, if you will, water and sewer charge. Jon Stewart, the great of late night comedy, helped me. Why don't you help? Why don't you help? Because of what you've heard somebody, the LGBTQ people, because I preach the Bible. I'm a man of God, and I ain't going to never stop preaching against it. It's wrong, the Bible says. You sit there, many of you, and you could help me. You sit there, and rather than helping me, Al Sharpton going to get a building in his name. Now, let me say something to you. Let me warn all of you, black and white. If you don't help me, I may be the last righteous man standing in America. If you don't help me, the liberals and the Democrats, the white liberals and the Democrats and the racists are going to run over you. If you don't help me, you got to get your help coming out of Harlem. You got to get help coming out of Harlem. If this project succeeds, they're talking about defunding the police. Black Lives Matter rejected the jury verdict of Jesse Smollett and said, we're still standing with them. And they got millions and millions and millions of dollars and people all over the world helping them. Yet you sit there on your hands and will not help me. Are you punishing me? Why? You know I'm the Lord's servant. You know that I am. You're hurting people. Young boys are dying right now because there's not an alternative voice to Al Sharpton. There's not an alternative voice to Ben Crump. So they're dying, they're suffering. Women are lonely in their beds at night because there's not an alternative voice to Barack Hussein Obama. There's not an alternative voice to the power of Black Lives Matter. There's not an alternative voice to the LGBTQ community. And so women are suffering and children are without fathers because there's not an alternative voice to Van Jones, a Kanye West, a Jay-Z. There's not an alternative voice. And you will not help me lift up my voice. Why? 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 Because I'm not for Trump? You know who Trump is. Come on. You know who he is. And besides, Trump supports most of these organizations. Trump and Al Sharpton are still tight. Listen, I'm here at this moment. You need to understand. New York City in just a few days is going to be ran by Eric Adams, or going to be led by Eric Adams, but ran by the Jews. Now, I don't say that because I hate Jews. I would to God, I could convince them to stand behind me the way they're standing by, put the kind of money behind me, give me the kind of media exposure that they gave him, give me the kind of support, give me the kind of legal support, give me the kind of smear attack support that they gave Eric Adams. Eric Adams wasn't even living in New York City, living out there in New Jersey with a girlfriend. But the Jews and the media, the newspapers, television, New York One, the power that they put behind him, put him in office. He has no idea Eric Adams has no idea what is up, but he's going to be the mayor of New York City only because the Jews are behind him. Why don't you get behind me? Why? What's your reason? Come on, tell me. What's your reason? You know who I am. I'm nobody's boy. I'm the Lord's servant. Now, you can't buy me. But I'm a fighter. Were it not for the strength that I presented in the early days of Obama, who knows what he might have done to you, many of you. I have organized, I gave plans, I gave kitchen table ideas, I stood, I held a trial, I marched, which many of you would not come and help me in that either. But roll the calendar back 15 years, and I continue with no do, no ring, keep the media, take all the money I can get from politicians and from landlords and from business developers, become a billionaire here in Harlem, never raise my voice against the so-called first black president. Who knows what would have happened to you? Who knows what if I had not been out there as a voice nationally? And thank God for all those that helped me at that time. I'm still here. I'm still here. Only God knows whether you would even be alive today if Obama had been able to run over and run rampant. But there was a voice that was stronger than his called James David Manning, the Lord's servant. And it resonated all over the world. It resonated all over the world. And when the Africans in Africa heard that Obama was pro-LGBTQ, they who had hated me all in Africa then got behind me. But I need you. And it's time that you realize that the Lord has sent me to help you. You sit there day after day on your hands in judgmental, secretly and racially supporting some of the most sadistic people on the planet. And because I won't stand up and support sons of Satan and servants of the devil, you're going to punish me. But you're not hurting me. You're not hurting me. You're hurting yourself and humanity. That's who you're hurting. And churches are crumbling here in Harlem. They're bulldozing over churches in Harlem, and pastors are pocketing millions of dollars into their pocket, and they're going to put up a building in honor of Al Sharpton. You're hurting the Lord Jesus Christ. You're letting a civil rights building go up, and the buildings of righteousness are coming down. When are you going to wake up? Don't make no sense. How hard-hearted can you be? Are you that in love with Trump? And you know who he is. You know who. Don't give me this business about he's the best president ever. Don't you give me that. You know who he is. The same way the Jews know who Eric Adams is. But they can buy him. You know who Trump is. You know who Obama is. Living up there in Martha's Vineyard, all these black people running around here talking about the first black president. And there's not one thing. I challenge anybody, black or white, to show me one legislation, one thing that Barack Hussein Obama did that lifted them because they were black. Whether it be housing, education, jobs, uplift, family, marriages. Show me one thing, because there's not one thing that he did. Hell, I tell you this, I guarantee you, I bet my seat in heaven that if Obama went to the south side of Chicago and stood in the midst of the ghetto where Dr. King once lived in Chicago and said, I want 100 black men to come and stand with me and to lift their hands in solidarity with me as a black man. If Obama stood on the south side of Chicago and said that, I guarantee you he couldn't get 100 black men in all black Chicago to come and stand with him, agreeing with him that he's a black man. I guarantee you he won't get it. He may have gotten it when he first ran. But after 8 years of nothing, ask Charlemagne the God, who asked him the question, why didn't you do something for black folk? When you going to help me? What you going to do? What you going to do? You see how they fight our church, fight our children, molest their minds? Yet you see me fight this fight all by my lonesome. And even winning as I go. But what could happen to America if my voice got lifted up high and lofty, and I got an opportunity to do what I do locally on a national and international scale, because you sitting there decided to get off your hands. And you decided not only to get off your hands and help, but you decided to tell other people it's time to help. And to the black man, always criticizing because I don't suck up and lie to you, let me say something to you. That I've told you that I believe in you. I told you God sent me to help you. But you're in trouble. And you need to be told the truth. That's the only, Dr. King didn't set you free. You went to jail after Dr. King. Your city's burned down after Dr. King. You got shot down in the street by the police after Dr. King. Dr. King didn't set you free. Neither did Malcolm X. They did not set you free. And Obama didn't set you free. Obama put feces in your face. What will set you free, black man, is the truth. The truth I got in my mouth. That is what will set you free. And I'm going to tell it to you until it runs out your ears, until you straighten up and fly right and become the man that God knows you can become. I'm not going to pimp you, pacify you like you some little old sissy, some little old girl. Stand up. Stand up and be a man. Stop letting the likes of a processed hair Al Sharpton. Here's a man that's an FBI snitch on a drug deal between the Cosa Nostra, the mafia here in New York, the FBI, Al Sharpton, involved in drug sales here in Harlem, snitched on the Cosa Nostra. And now they're going to put up a building in his name and his honor, and you're going to sit by and just let it happen? I mean, what is the world coming to? You're hurting yourself. It's time for every last one of you to step forward and to give 100 support to the truth that I speak and the power that God's put in me. Otherwise, you're going to be the one that suffers. Your child is going to come and spit in your face and tell you they're joining Black Lives Matter. Your son's going to come and tell you that he wants a dress and not a baseball mitt. Yes, sir. Who else is there out there to help you? Who else? There's no one else. My appeal. What a shame. What a shame. Who was the philosopher that said for bad things to happen, all it takes is for good people to do nothing? You've exhausted Trump. There's nothing left in him. There's nothing left in him now except being the biggest gangster that America has ever seen in politics. There's nothing left in him now. There's nothing left in him. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant. And just think what my life would be like if I decided to embrace Black Lives Matter, or embrace Obama, or embrace blackness and defend people like Andrew Brown or Michael Brown or Trayvon Martin. Or if I embraced LGBTQ and said, man, and myself perform marriages. Imagine the wealth that I would have. Imagine how often you see me on the news and all the people of the community would be worshiping and saying what a great preacher and great pastor I am. You do know that would happen, right? I want you to consider that I will not and never under any circumstance nor the threat of death ever go anywhere near thinking about doing anything as satanic as that. But what I do want to ask you to do is to consider my righteousness. I'm the Lord's servant, and you might want to help me. You might want to say, well, listen, especially if you're at retirement age and your life is settled and your income's, you're pretty much settled for the rest of your days, but you have excess, so you have what you can give, and you can make this ministry. You can further this word to reach the 50,000 righteous men through your giving. Maybe you have stocks, or you have bonds, or you have properties, houses, or land, or jewelry that you could just give to the ministry, cars, automobiles, paintings. I'm just going to give them to that ministry. If Jesus is coming back to Harlem, to 123rd Street, then I want to give my possessions to prepare a place for him. Jesus said he's going to prepare a place for us, but I'm going to give my possessions, my paintings, my gold, my jewelry, my stocks, my land, my property, my houses to prepare a place for him when he comes back, that the land would truly be holy ground for James David Manning as his servant. Thank you for doing that. You'll know how to give. The Lord will show you how, but start doing it immediately. Time is of the essence.
A true man of God. Pastor is a man of God who gives his life to the Lord. He fears no man, and he chooses his battles. He is a very generous man, a loving man, and he truly loves the children in the ATLAH schools. He cares about their well-being, and he cares about the members of the church. Pastor is my father, and I am his son. He only hopes for the best for me. He cares about my well-being, and he is interested in how I am doing. He prays for me. I am a really, truly blessed person. He is a man of integrity and honor. Pastor is a man who I trust, and there are not many people who I trust. He helps me when I'm in need. He does not like to see me in hardships or in pain. Pastor is not a man who moans or gets huffy. He is a strong man, a man of power. He's a man who you will never understand because of what he has been through. What he has done for the people is far beyond what anyone can imagine. That is why I love him, and I know he is a true man of God. I put my life in his hands. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Pastor. your son Canaan from the UK.
When you see the school called ATLAH, you see righteous boys and girls, always standing with the sword of the mighty God, as righteous leaders all over the world. We'll never turn to the left or the right. We shall prevail in all our fights. And we will say, like Honorable Manny says, ATLAH, that's what God says. And we will say, like all our teachers say, ATLAH, that's what God says. ATLAH, we love you. ATLAH, we love you. We love you. Great tomorrows, we love you. We love you. ATLAH, we love you. We love you. When you see the school called ATLAH, you see righteous boys and girls, always standing with the sword of the mighty God, as righteous leaders all over the world. We'll never turn to the left or the right. We shall prevail in all our fights. And we will say, like Honorable Manny says, ATLAH, that's what God says. And we will say, like all our teachers say, ATLAH, that's what God says. ATLAH, we love you. ATLAH, we love you. We love you. Great tomorrows, we love you. We love you. ATLAH, we love you. We love you.